When Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. faced Congress, his answers revealed more than just numbers and policies. They uncovered the complex puzzle of how the Department of National Defense plans to strengthen the armed forces of the Philippines. And at the heart of that puzzle lies the most ambitious and closely watched program of all, the Multirole Fighter Acquisition Project. According to Max Defense, the congressional hearing shed light on why decisions seem delayed, why projects don't always match public expectations, and why the Philippine Air Force's next-generation fighters remain unsigned, despite funds being available. On paper, the Department of National Defense already has the money. Of the 35 billion pesos programmed for 2025 under the AFP Modernization Program, 9 billion pesos remains untouched. Add to this the possibility of tapping into unprogrammed funds, and the DND technically has enough to sign for the first batch of up to 20 fighters. So why the hesitation? Section Teodoro made it clear, it isn't just about signing contracts. The real challenge begins after the ink dries. First, Philippine law sets limits on how much the country can borrow through soft loans for defense. That means generous long-term financing offers from Sweden, Italy, France, and South Korea remain out of reach, unless Congress amends the law. Second, without soft loans, the DND must rely on something called Multi-Year Obligation Authorities, or MYOAS. These spread out payments, but only until 1 year after delivery. For example, if Saab delivers 20 Gripen fighters in 4 years, the government has to pay almost everything within 5 years. And here's the problem. If you stack the MRF payments on top of existing MYOAS, like those for offshore patrol vessels, FA-50 Block 70 jets, and advanced C4ISTAR systems, the DND could be looking at 90 billion pesos in repayments per year. Far more than the 35 to 50 billion peso annual allocation of the AFP Modernization Program. This financial squeeze makes Secretary Teodoro cautious. According to Max Defense, it's the biggest reason why the MRF deal has not been signed. But Teodoro also reminded Congress of something bigger. Multirole fighters don't exist in isolation. They are part of a package. Fighters need support systems, airborne early warning and control aircraft, aerial refueling tankers, dedicated bases, and the operating budget to keep them in the air. Buying 6 or 12 aircraft piecemeal isn't enough. The goal is to build a credible force package, a system that ensures air defense isn't symbolic but real. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the F-16 Viper. For years, Lockheed Martin's F-16 Block 7072 was considered the frontrunner, but today the deal is stalled. Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Romualdez, confirmed that the $5.56 billion plan to acquire 20 F-16s is on hold. The reason? Funding. The U.S. has not offered the kind of long-term financing that Sweden and Italy are willing to provide. No soft loans, no creative payment schemes. Just a massive bill that Manila cannot shoulder under current law. And that's why, according to Max Defense, the F-16 Viper is highly unlikely to be selected. Still, the Viper isn't completely out. The project is on pause, not canceled, but every delay weakens its chances. While Lockheed struggles to keep its foot in the door, another player has entered the stage. The Eurofighter Typhoon. In 2023, the Philippine Air Force sent a request for information, and Leonardo, representing the Eurofighter Consortium, answered with an offer for the latest Tranche 5 variant. Leonardo's proposal is bold. For the budget set aside for 40 fighters, they can deliver 32 Typhoons, armed to the teeth. We're talking about Meteor Beyond Visual Range missiles, ASRAAM, short-range missiles, Brimstone precision strike weapons, and Storm Shadow cruise missiles. A package designed not just for air defense, but for deep strike and deterrence. And there's more. The deal would be government to government, with financing options. It could also include local manufacturing of Typhoon components, turning the Philippines into the first Eurofighter supply base in the Asia-Pacific. Training would happen in Sardinia, Italy, while shared production lines with Italy and Spain mean the PAF could get its first jets by 2028. If a contract is signed by 2026, Leonardo even claims the Typhoon Tranche 5 can credibly challenge Chinese fighters like the J-10, J-11, and J-16, and even hold its own against China's fifth-generation J-20 stealth fighter. A strong claim, but not without basis. The Eurofighter has already tested itself against America's F-22 and F-35 in exercises. But despite the noise from Lockheed Martin and Leonardo, according to Max Defense, the real frontrunner remains Sweden's Saab Gripen. And the reason is simple: compatibility. The Gripen doesn't come alone. Saab offers a seamless package: the JAS-39 Gripen fighters, paired with the Saab 340 or Saab 2000 AEW and C aircraft, and potentially the Embraer KC 390 Millennium tanker. In fact, during the Philippine Air Force's 78th anniversary, Secretary Teodoro himself emphasized the need for AWACS to support the MRF fleet. Soon after, he mentioned the Saab 340 AEWC as a critical requirement. This wasn't random. According to Max Defense, the reference to Saab's AEWC platform strongly hints at Gripen's advantage. No other contender has this level of synergy between fighter, early warning, and refueling systems. Even if the Saab 340 is out of production, alternatives like the Saab 2000 remain viable, and Sweden is expected to replace its own 340 with Global Eye, possibly freeing units for transfer. For the Philippine Air Force, this package is not just affordable, it's practical, sustainable, and future-ready. And the urgency for these decisions has only grown stronger. While the Philippine Navy set its course with Sail Plan 2040, China unveiled a different future: carrier dominance. The People's Liberation Army Navy has started trials with its newest supercarrier, the Type 003 Fujian, successfully conducting catapult launches and arrested landings on its vast flight deck for the first time. Spotted during these tests were the J-15T, a catapult-ready fourth-generation fighter, the J-35, a fifth-generation stealth jet built for carrier operations, and the KJ-600 AEW and C, Beijing's counterpart to the American E-2 Hawkeye. According to Max Defense Philippines, in the event of a conflict, the Philippine Air Force's future multi-role fighters will likely face these very aircraft, launched not from the Chinese mainland but from mobile air bases sailing across the South China Sea. This is the importance of the Navy's Sail Plan 2040. Succeeding Sail Plan 2028, it goes beyond the shift from a brown-water, insurgency-oriented fleet to a territorial defense force. Sail Plan 2040 charts the next phase of that journey, embedding the Navy within the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept and strengthening ties with regional partners through the Squad framework, treating the South and East China Seas as one unified theater. The message is clear: Philippine ships and aircraft must no longer act alone, but function as part of a broader, joint and allied defense network. So where does that leave us? The F-16 Viper remains on the table, but with funding issues unresolved, its chances are slim. The Eurofighter Typhoon has emerged as a serious contender, bringing range, firepower, and even industrial opportunities. But it comes with higher costs and complexity. And then there's Saab. According to Max Defense, Gripen remains the most realistic option. Affordable, adaptable, and supported by an integrated package of fighters, AEW and C and tankers. Add to this Sweden's willingness to provide financing solutions, and the balance tilts even further in their favor. But one thing is undeniable. With China's Fujian carrier now testing stealth fighters, and with the Philippine Navy charting its path through Sail Plan 2040, the need for a credible multi-role fighter fleet has never been more urgent. As 2025 draws to a close, the question is no longer if the Philippines will acquire multi-role fighters, But which team will secure the contract? And if Max Defense's fearless forecast holds true, the answer may already be in sight: Saab, Gripen, and Sweden. Because in the skies above the Philippines, the future of air defense isn't just about planes. It's about building a system strong enough to guard the nation for decades to come. This is not just a purchase. It's a choice that will shape Philippine air power for a generation. Follow for more updates on defense and security, and drop your vote in the comments. Your opinion might just spark the next big debate.